Welcome back to another video on the Nortex Mining YouTube channel. Today it's going to be a bit of a different episode. It's going to be just more of a look back on the crazy past 12 months that the Helium network has had, and kind of just a flashback, a time capsule, and my thoughts on how these past 12 months have kind of gone. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So, back in January and February of 2021, obviously not that many people had heard about the network. It was still very young. This was one of the first videos that I could find on YouTube about Helium. Look at this. 18,000 hotspots on the network. I had not heard of Helium on February 27th, 2021. But apparently 207, almost 208,000 people found out about it on February 27th. So that is kind of crazy. And checking on the price action, Feb 27, we were at $4.17. It sounds like a lot of other people had found it maybe in this last quarter of 2020. I believe there was a South by Southwest event in Austin that I completely missed. And, well, South by Southwest in Austin is just ridiculously packed and just not my scene, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too old for that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I never really got into the tech scene there, and maybe that was a huge mistake. But yeah, so back in February 27th, there was only 18,000 hotspots on the network. Look at this app, looks completely different from the one we have now. Just incredible growth over the past 12 months. The next video that I believe, or sorry, this is from the same video from Jimmy is Promo. You can go ahead and check out his channel. He's got a ton of content on Helium. During the early days, I want to say his channel was the one that kind of blew everything up out of the water. He has about 19 Helium, and we just saw it was at $4. So this is, I don't know, somewhere between $75 and $80 that he's got just... I'm not even sure here, maybe in the past few days. But I don't really think that this was the flashpoint quite yet. The next video, though, that I found that seemed to be pretty relevant was one of his on March 23rd. And my goodness. So he goes through some of the most asked questions. I do remember watching this video, and this is when I think I kind of realized I need to get in on this. This is way too good to be true. But if other people are taking advantage of it, I also need to take advantage here. Look at this, 535,000 views. His estimates were that 5 HNT per day was the average mining at that time, right? And I mean, fair enough, right? And March 23rd, it was only at $7. Okay, so I mean, maybe obviously this, in hindsight, it looks insane. But nobody really knew this was going to happen. For all he knew, we could have been at 20 and then crashed back down from there. Who knows? But $7, it looks like he's estimating maybe a couple days later, maybe he released this and thought, oh, well, I think it can go to $9 or something like that. But I mean, $45 a day on a $350 or $400 miner was insane. That, payoff time was about 1 to 2 weeks, and this was just, I think, the video that launched it, and it went completely bonkers. He went through someone else in his area, Kansas City, I believe, that had made 459 helium in the last 30 days. Now, at the time of this recording, that was in the thousands. That was well into the thousands. That was around 4,000 plus in that last month. 10 HNT in 24 hours. So just completely ridiculous. This blew every other miner out of the water. And at the time, it was available on Binance US because it sounds like in one of the videos he talked about, transferring it to his Binance.us account. It still wasn't on any of the other exchanges, though. I don't believe it had been on Gate.io just yet or Crypto.com. So Binance was really the only way to go. And I think there was a couple of other swap sites that you could go to and, swap your HNT for maybe Ether or something like that. But just bonkers time, March 2021. I believe this is also when the orders just started to flood in for miners. There was really only the OG Helium that had stopped making miners, I think, at this point. And then you had Rack, Nebra, and Bobcat. And other people had racks. And so, what else do we have here? So this one was from April. He goes ahead and this is from April. So I think he goes ahead and gets another rack miner. I don't know if it was sent to him or I don't know if he purchased it, but YouTubers in this time were getting miners sent to them. And once the earnings started coming in and they were publishing these videos, things just went bananas. April 10th, he has one miner here and then he scales up and now adds a second miner and they're witnessing each other. So all of a sudden, he's at $3,300 for two miners in 2 months. So again, just bonkers time in this April. I think we've got another one here from May. Oh, these are March. Let's check out these real quick. Yeah, I don't mean to belabor this, but yeah, so he only had only 124 helium over this 14-day stretch in March. Again, another one that just kind of the flashpoint and it set the match and everything just kind of blew up as far as orders went was right here in this late March, early April time frame. This guy in his area is bringing in 489 helium in the month. And March 27, again, I think we saw that earlier, right? That's your right around this $10 price point. So, yeah. So, that's almost $5,000 on this guy's monthly earnings. And at the time, obviously, you had no idea that it was going to keep running into the higher teens, much less into the 20s or 30s and quickly spike up into the 40s a few months later. But the buzz and the orders that were flowing in during this March timeframe were just insane. I believe that's when I placed, so I don't even know what took me so long. I waited until April 7th to place my orders, and April 10th apparently for Syncrobit. The Rack and Nebras, I remember pulling the trigger pretty quickly on. Apparently not quickly enough though, right? Because that was just insane. So yeah, just insane growth during that April May time frame. May. Look, he's reviewing the Bobcat miner. Still a ton of interest here at 117,000 views. His 30-day rewards are a 95 helium here, and he's only got 4 witnesses on average. So just ridiculous. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention here that I did have in my, I mean, these consensus group earnings, man, that was like hitting the jackpot. I never got to mine that early on in the network's history, but when you saw someone on YouTube posting, oh, I caught a consensus group or in the Reddit forum or somewhere, I mean, you were just like, wow, like you can really just luck out and get hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of helium just for being that early. So that's why this was the gold rush period. Everything basically up to the halving, I would say, was still gold rush time. Obviously this colossal juniper baboon did extremely well for himself there. March. What else? So then after August 1st was when the first halving happened, and things were definitely on the decline. I was watching a lot of crypto gossip at the time, so appreciate your content, Adam. But here's kind of his earnings. I appreciate his transparency too. I mean, he kind of gives, again. I mean, look at these numbers here for June and July, in the 90s, in the 60s and 70s. I mean, those are incredible earnings. If we go back and look at the price, June was a little bit stronger. I think we were still in the teens in June. July kind of cooled off a little bit, along with the rest of the market. But still, I mean, you're still above 10. And so, I mean, 950 at least on each of these. July, maybe another 600 to 700 plus on each. I mean, this is ROI within 1 to 2 weeks. Definitely for some of these hotspots. I mean, basically everybody was getting 1 to 2 weeks to break even, and it was just a phenomenal time to be a helium miner. And I still had not received my miners. I mean, everybody who placed orders in March and April were expecting them in this June to July timeframe. And as April and May wore on, it was just very evident that it wasn't going to happen because people's orders were just not being fulfilled. And it just kept spilling into the next month. And manufacturers were saying, oh, we're going to have to move it back another 2 weeks, and then another 3 weeks, and another 4 weeks. And the supply chain issues were terrible. And everybody kind of went through the same thing just about. And I started paying attention to the new makers coming to market, and that's how I was able to get a couple of these SenseCAPs late July. I placed the orders in late July, but obviously they didn't come until after the halving in August. The Bobcat orders, again, man. I mean, back in that time frame, everybody was thrilled with the performance of the racks. The Nebras were $350. The racks were, I think, $345 also. Syncrobit was a little bit more expensive, so I ordered the fewest of those, and I did my best to kind of hedge and see which one was going to deliver first. None of them obviously did, and I started canceling as I was getting replacement units for these, right, with my SenseCAPs. And I had no idea if SenseCAP was going to be a good manufacturer or not. I risked it, but I thought, I don't know when these are going to show up. Probably not until October. I think CalChip finally put out a timeline of when I was going to get these hotspots, and it wasn't forecasted until like December of 2021. And I thought that was ridiculous. So I went ahead and refunded these. Kind of in retrospect, I suppose I should have held on to them. But again, as I said in my other video, which I'll link a card to, and kind of recapping my story and how I got to where I got to. It was just too much on credit cards at the time, and I was desperate to get miners, but I was also not desperate enough to go on eBay and pay. In this gold rush period, they were between $4,000 and $8,000 for one hotspot on eBay. So I was desperate to get miners, but not desperate to spend $4,000 to $8,000 on my credit card for that. And as time kind of wore on, after the halving, you can see the price drop on some of these hotspots. But earnings were dropping too, so breakeven was kind of between 1 and 2 months. The consensus group lottery jackpot was gone. And again, you can kind of see here on Adam's earnings, things kind of took quite a big step down. So he's into the 20s, into the teens here for August through October and into November. And then I mean, that's kind of when we hit this huge run up. So even though earnings were down, everybody expected, okay, the halving's going to happen. You're going to see that price action go up because there's just less supply and less people are going to be selling off. And the lower the supply, the same demand, the price is going to go up. And sure enough, this thing took off. So it didn't even really matter that earnings were down because everybody was ecstatic. I mean, going from the 28 to in the 50s in a matter of 2 weeks was just insane. I remember waking up, my phone had these notifications on them that Helium had broken 30, had broken 40, had broken 50, and everybody was just going bonkers. I finally did have some hotspots at that time. But what ends up happening when you start to try and scale too fast, and you kind of run into this issue where there were good placements in June or July when I was expecting to get them, but by the time September, October, November, December rolls around, the entire city is just completely saturated. Nobody knows what they're doing in terms of placements and just kind of placing a bunch of things in the same hex, or they get two for the same house and are just doing all kinds of nonsense that ends up kneecapping their earnings, their neighbors' earnings. So what I learned here is you end up falling to the mean, right? I mean, this average of 7 HNT, also around 7.5 for November. I averaged around 4.5 per hotspot, right? So for December, 4.8. For Jan, 5.10. And Feb was a tough month here, so 3.3. Obviously, I've got this one down completely that I'm replacing the SD card on. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's been an incredible journey here that, and you can see even, Jimmy's earnings here in October. He's got 11 on his for the past 30 days. So, he had a better placement. And I guess you could kind of see that maybe the interest had died down somewhat. And we had definitely gotten out of this gold rush into this post-halving period. But the price just shot up. And so nobody was even really worried about having lower earnings because the price had just exploded. And that kind of brings us to present day. I mean, this cool off period between December and February. I mean, in December, you were still in the 20s and 30s. I think it even touched 40 a little bit. Yeah, in January. But we've been cooling off with Bitcoin, with the rest of the market. And now to present day into March 2022, the hotspots are in stock for between 6 and 750 for various places. I do have a new video coming out soon that there is a new maker coming to market for $300. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and be sure you don't miss that video. but break even on a lot of, good earning hotspots. If you're at twice the average, this 6 to 750 is still going to take you about 6 to 8 months, maybe 6 to 9 months, for you to make the same amount of HNT as it would be in US dollars here, just because we've cooled off so much. But I mean, this kind of takes the shape of the boom cycles that we see in crypto, and so we've kind of reverted to this continued growth here, and I expect the project to keep growing. I mean, it's just incredible. Up to So I want to say when I first jumped in here in August, I mean, there was still less than 100,000 hotspots on the network. I think around Christmas time there was about 250 or so, and over the course of the next 3 months, I mean, things have just gotten crazy, right? Present day, we're at over 600,000 hotspots. Plenty of additional makers have started selling hotspots, and they've sold out, pretty much by and large every time. If they're under $400 to $500, people will pick those up really quickly. But now things have started to cool, and we're seeing some more availability. And like I said, it sounds like here in the next couple months there might be another maker coming to market with an even better price point. And then light hotspots will be around the corner. So present day, everybody's trying to figure out, when HIP 55 will come into picture, what's going to happen with these full hotspots, how can we utilize the compute power that's still on these full hotspots to kind of incentivize and still have additional value there that we can maybe take advantage of, as opposed to just waiting around for the light hotspots to come to market. So I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming down this road with me. Again, I think this is going to be super interesting to look back on in a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. But that's basically it. I think I'll probably do another video on my earnings maybe at the end of March, to see, kind of give you guys an update on where I'm at and what I'm going to do. Still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these two Bobcats, because these earnings are just not acceptable in this very saturated city. They're just not good locations. So I'm trying to get ideas. Let me know what you think I should do to these two Bobcats. Should I relocate them? Should I sell them? Should I partner with somebody? What do you guys think I should do for these two Bobcats here? Because they need new homes, and I want to make sure they're being put to good use, rather than just toiling away in a red or orange hex and not earning very much. So thank you guys for watching. Do go ahead and, like I said, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the Helium content that I'm bringing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.